Well, good morning, Monday, people. Welcome to your weekly setup. Happy December 1st. We made it. We got through November. We got through Thanksgiving. It's a new it's a new day, it's a new week, and it's a new month. And I'm so glad to welcome you. You have Team Texas on the call this morning by way of Scotland. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I am in the Dallas, Texas area. My town is called, or my small city is Garland, and then I'll be your on-screen facilitator, and then off-screen, hanging in the chat, we have the fabulous Katie Gideon, and she's kind of taking a little break in the middle of her workday in Scotland, to be with us this morning. So we are both so happy to welcome you. When we first started being facilitators, we were both located in Texas. She was down in the Houston area. So we will forever be Team Texas, and we are very happy to be with you. Make sure your chat is set to everyone. I think that you got most everybody I see has done that. And it seems like it's a little early. People are still coming in the door. So come on in, have a seat, make yourself at home. Remember, we've got a great Monday. I found this graphic I thought was so good. Mindset is the key, opportunities ahead, new beginnings. Dream big, achieve new goals, and yay, a fresh start. And that's one of the things we love, 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 love about our journals is that fresh start every single month. And super excited that December 1st had is polite enough to start on Monday in our journals. So we're so happy about that too. We love when we have a Monday start and it's the first of in our pages. So, yes, hello, December. There are some easy self-care ideas to relieve holiday stress. I'll probably be using this little graphic about stress throughout the month somewhere in our setup time, but you can grab a screenshot if that's kind of fun for you. And as usual, this social is being recorded. You'll be able to access it at on our Silk and Sonder YouTube channel, along with the other thousand, um, videos that are there. So, Susan, it is okay. You're really not late. We're just doing our intro, and we're glad to welcome you. So, y'all just keep coming in. Come have a seat. Welcome, welcome. I have been starting socials recently, those setup socials for our weekly setup, with asking you the question for that bottom space in your setup. Today, you'll find it on page 27. It's that I am loving box, and just thought we could share. I always love like learning about new things y'all have discovered, movies, shows, products, maybe a new book title. Feel free to drop that in the chat right now. What are you loving? And I said, yay, Carla, clean house. It's so good. Pumpkin bread. I made cranberry sauce. I used the Bon Appetit recipe for that. It's so good. And that cranberry stuff has been in everything, in and on everything. I had it in my oatmeal yesterday. So I've just been all into the cranberries this week. So that's my I am loving. Oh, what is all her fault? Is that a new series? A binge-worthy series? Retirement for sure. Snow on the trees, beautiful. We had big leftovers too, Joanna. Last night was kind of our last full plate. Now we're gonna be picking at that turkey noodle soup. Yummy. Okay, I'm hearing all her fault is so good. So we need to try. You binged it in one night. I love those. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, being back home, Maggie, for sure. Traveling is crazy. I know that many of you had shared looking at what was coming up for you with the holidays. It was going to be a little tricky. There were tricky people that you would be entering. So it's so nice to have refuge at home, that renewal feeling of being reminded of your space. I love that. Oh, yes, Advent started. So maybe you are working on your Advent devotionals and journey and just hot coffee right now. I got my big one, and look, isn't that cute? One of my best friends gave that to me a couple years ago. So I made my husband get down the Christmas mugs. All right, keep dropping those things in the chat. Love that. All right. There's our community guidelines. If there is there anybody here for the first time checking out a weekly setup? If that's you, just drop a me in the chat. We're not going to make you participate, but we would love to give you a big welcome. Hey, Susan, welcome. Michelle is new. We're so glad that you are here. You have found your accountability group. These socials really help me stick with all the things in my journal. Okay, we've got several new folks here today. Christina, if you will change that host and panelist to where it says everyone, then we can all share. But Christina's new here. So we always, so welcome, new friends. And again, we encourage you to keep this appointment with yourself because it makes sure that you are, using this tool that you are investing in for your self-care. I'm going to show you lots of examples from our Sonder family of how to set our pages up, but also this is just you're going to find the best community here, and y'all will all attest to the fact that we are virtual, but man, we have gotten to know each other. It's just a beautiful place to be. So we always do share these community guidelines to remind each other about creating the spaces that we create, that they're safe, that they're not, full of promotions or that kind of thing. But number one is, anytime you gather at these socials, it is about a tool for you to elevate your health, your emotional health through this community. And, you take what you need. So if you're, some folks will say, I'm here, I'm not feeling it today, but thought I'd log on anyway. That's great. Or I'm here, I'm not going to be working in the chat because I am focused on my pages, or somewhere in between. So this is just about you creating this time and space to be with your community and to work on your journal journey. So we do have this brand new theme, brand new renewal. And I always, when it first came out, I was like, that's so interesting that we're looking at renewal at the end of the year because mentally our world says finish up, tidy up, get it all done. And then that pressure's on us to like, oh, I didn't do what I wanted to do. So, oh, happy Sonderversary, Beth Ann. I love that. So I think it's kind of neat to look at the very last month of the year through the lens of renewal. And I found this quote that resonated with me. It seems like everything sleeps in the winter, but it's really a time of renewal and reflection. And we did a deep dig into some trees a while ago in our journal. And one of the things about trees is, we always really notice them in the spring when they're coming, they're bursting with life. And then we have the summer where, it's full and green and producing and then fall comes and they start losing their leaves. And we sort of think, oh, well, they're not doing anything. But what they really are doing is during that winter time, that renewal time, they are doing everything internal. Like internally, they are doing the work to be the best version of themselves later on in the spring and summer. So I just really love looking at renewal in winter. I think that's going to be a pretty neat uh, deep dig into who we are and really focusing on that internal work that allows us to bloom. Alrighty, so enough chatting. Here's our agenda. We're going to do our mind map. So, the folks who are new here, that's this bonus prompt that you will get every single time you come to a weekly setup. So, we love that. Dive into the monthly theme. It's not in your journal, you get it by showing up at these events, the weekly setups. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection, and then of course set up the weekly pages for this week. So the renewal mind map is here. So we're going to invite you to find a space in your journal. I've got a little list of ideas for you to do. Oftentimes we focus too much on what we haven't done yet instead of on how we've grown. This month, we're going to explore our theme of renewal with a focus on celebrating progress over perfection, which is a pillar of Silk and Sonder, and then creating that space to move forward. So, week one, we are looking at what is your favorite thing you've done for self care this year. It could be something small or something big. Why was it your favorite? I love the why part of this question, that reflection, and how did it make you feel? So let's look at some ideas here. I was inspired by someone in Sonder Club. I saw they did ornaments for their page. I was like, y'all know I always keep templates. So I'll either trace my driver's license or a cookie cutter, or this is a tuna fish can lid that I keep in my desk. And that's what inspired my ornaments. So that's kind of a nice way. You can also just do, divide your page into four quadrants, if you will. Um, to answer that, you can do this in your weekly scratch pad from week to week to week. You could use sticky notes. You could do this on your definition page or the quote page or just a blank page. I did mine on the very last page of your journal, just so that it's easy to turn to. You know exactly where that mind map is. And I have some things for you to think about before we get going on this. You might really want to think about your Silk and Sonder journey because I think that's one of the best self care things that we do. Have you committed to maybe regularly attending socials? Did you have a theme that really was a mindset change for you and it helped you with your self care? Are there consistent ways you've used your journey? And one of the things I pulled from someone was that, and you see in the upper right, that self-care corner. Like, is that a new thing that you did? Something like that every single week and leaned into preparing this space for your self-care. Did you perhaps join the Silk and Sonder coaching app, and get that weekly self-care plan and put that into place? Perhaps it's just, oh, thank you, Maggie, for posting that. Perhaps it's just a little list of things that add up in a big way. Maybe, you just prioritize a bunch of small things. Um, think about where you found your flow. Where did you get lost in time? What have you prioritized? And and then I was going to say, like for me, this is an Al-Anon daily reading, and I have alcoholics in my life, and had my whole life, and I've never really done the work, and I've really been doing the work for self-care this year. This is the biggest thing I've done is to work on me through that. That was mine. And then if you're like, I haven't even, this is all new to me and I haven't even had time, um, maybe it hasn't happened yet. So I've got this inspiration for you, a little self-care to do list for winter. Um, you're going to see this graphic later on in our time together, but maybe you will manifest what's going to happen this month to prioritize your self-care. Might not happen yet. You can change that up a little bit. It's okay. So, I've got a good chunk of music to put on while you set up your page and start considering this. And I'll go back and forth between these slides, and you are already sharing some of the things that you've done. So continue to do that because you may inspire someone with what you've done. And then we'll get on with the rest of our setup after we work on our mind map. Thank you all for starting off our month of renewal by reflecting on what you have done for yourself as far as self care. And it looks different for all of us, but it's so inspiring to see how different folks are journeying and going, about their days, about their life right now. And things change all the time. And so, like you may be working on a reflection like this in a year from now, and it could be totally different. We don't know what life's going to bring. But I appreciate the sharing in the chat because, for one, it helps us all go, oh, me too. But it also can inspire one another by what you have shared. So thank you for embracing this first week. These questions this month are you're going to really enjoy working on them. They're pretty darn good, I can say. So yeah, keep sharing. And this could be a question that kind of, I always say, marinates for the week, and you can always go back and add to some of your thoughts on that favorite self-care. And I love how my favorite part is how Silk and Sonder has influenced your life and maybe pushed you to take better care of yourself in all the ways, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. So thank you for that. So we're going to grab November's journal one last time. If you don't have November's journal, that's okay. You can do this in a blank space in your journal. Maybe this week you'll go to that weekly setup and do your rosebud thorn reflection on the weekly scratch pad. But this is a tenet of our weekly setup. We do that reflection on what the last week brought us. So we'll be on page 56 in November to say goodbye to that last week of November. And we look at our roses from the week, our buds, and our thorns. And my rose was, for me, I had a full Thanksgiving table, lots of good food. We had some folks who didn't have family to go to. We had two different people join our family, and that was a beautiful thing. We had some winning football teams, so it was just a lot of fun. My bud is, I've mentioned before to y'all, I'm part of a little quilting group at our church, and we create quilts for new babies. And we have a family who is adopting, and it'll be a Christmas time adoption. And so I have received the quilt top that someone has pieced, and I'm going to be putting it together, layering it, and doing the quilting part of it. And then someone else is going to be binding it. So that's my bud, getting excited to complete that gift for that family. And then my thorn is a result of my wonderful Thanksgiving. Even my stretchy pants are tight. So, yeah, this week is a renewal week with my nutrition and moving my body. Share your rosebud thorn reflections in the chat as you're comfortable. And we'll work on this for just a little bit and then get on with our other pages. All right, sometimes thorns are so completely out of our control, like the weather. Um, Peg fell with patch of ice. I said, "No falling, Peg. We don't have time for that. Not this time of year." Becca has shared that she has a small business and the weather was not friendly to small business Saturday and that mindset. So, Becca, share with us in the chat if there's a way we can support even. Oh, there it is. It's the Mood Janesville. Okay. Um, y'all, let's support that small business. And even if you're not close, just follow and share in your accounts. That'll be great. Oh, your pups are with you, Mary Ellen. Staying warm. They're glued to you staying warm. Karen, yes, raising teenagers. Too smart for their own good. You'll get smarter as the years pass, I promise. I've been there. Yeah, so those thorns are not fun. I've seen some medical things. So we will share space with each other, hold space for one another with those thorns. But also, I loved, I canceled the maid. That's a thorn, but I'm going to pay off debt faster. So that's a bud. That's great. So yeah, thank you all for sharing. Continue to share those in the chat. If you need a little extra support, please put that out there and we can send that good juju out into the world. Let's now tackle week 49. Can you believe it? On pages 25 and 26 in our December journal. And I always like to throw up a couple of example pages, completed pages by our wonderful community. These were actually set up and shared from this past weekend's setups. And so the one on the left, y'all may know Corey. She's been going through a grief journey with the loss of her husband. And I love how she wants to renew her hope this week. And everything about her page, her three major goals is renewing something. So, really embracing that theme of renewal. You can see how she put her three goals there: mind, body, soul. We always love those categories. And then her to dos will directly tie in to each one of those goals that she has. And then she's got her habits and activities that she'll be tracking, but she's not assigning a set number. She's just going to track. And then the one on the left, I believe, was Gloria's. And she's got her set up with a little bit of holiday cheer, and that's what she wants to feel. And again, her goals also directly tie into the to dos that she is setting up for herself. Oh, I love that, Holly. Holly just said she's gonna go see Becca's store. I love this community. Y'all are so great. Um, and then also, if you'll notice down in the habit and activity tracker, the goal, instead of having a number, she has embraced dose for the week. And that's that idea of looking at feeding the body with the right things to create good dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And when she does that, she tries to spell out DOSE, dose, every single day. So that's how she's framing that out. And then I love the exclamation mark part in that habit and activity. She's ending it with minimized screen, quote, phone time, which I love that, less than 90 minutes. Have y'all ever looked at the amount of time you're spending on your phone? It makes me so embarrassed. Just I don't know how that happens. So let's start with how we want to feel this week. Mary Ellen says she's going to try for the millionth time to declutter. Girl, I hear you. Set some timers and give yourself some little rewards, right? Like make a little list of rewards, like a cup of tea or a little snack or go for a little walk in between all your accomplishments. So when we decide how we want to feel, we can use one word, we can use quotes, stickers. I've got a little word cloud there of some words. Love the idea of renewed. You see right up there in the top. Um, you can kind of write out like your why behind what you want to feel. I love that. Get up and get busy. Stop making excuses. Hey, maybe this is how we tackle that decluttering. Stop complaining, stop procrastinating, stop having doubt, stop waiting on the right time. Just do the thing. Mine is the second one on the right, and I had shared as I supported this weekend for a weekly setup. I'm going to do the four tenets of Advent. So this week's word for Advent is hope, and then I'm tying in a scripture. So next, I've already popped them into my journal so that I'm ready. Next week will be peace. And then the week after that is joy. And then my fourth week will be love. And so I'm using those four tenets because I'm really digging into an Advent journey in my whole journal, my habits, my intentions, my everything. So there's some examples. Y'all share in the chat, drop in the chat what feeling word or how you're going to frame this out this week. You might even want to think about the work that you just did on your self-care this week. Our mind map, your favorite self-care things. So share that. And then we're going to take that word into our weekly three major goals. And so lots of ways to set this up. We just did hopefully did our intentions page. So perhaps that page or your monthly habits or even that start, stop, and continue space on our reflections page, perhaps that will inform your weekly goals. You might even do your stop, start, and continue as your three goals. You can definitely set your goals through this idea of renewal, just like we saw Corey's example. She wanted to feel renewed and different. Yep, I love that. Linking into renewal. Perhaps no goals. We really talked about no goals. What do we say no to during the month of November? Perhaps we bring that forward. Maybe it's a single personal challenge for the week, or you're really going to focus in on just like this holiday or your Advent journey, ways to embrace the end of the year. And then a lot of us like to just do the three categories each week. And so we saw that mind, body, soul, left brain, right brain, no brain, fun, fruitful, frog. The frog is always the thing we don't want to do, like decluttering. So lots of ways to set this up. I'll go through some examples and we're going to look at our goals and our to-dos and then we'll work on this space. So there's that word renewed with those three goals that this person has. Um, you can just do one, two, three. The one on the left, you can know they're going to eat well, stay active, and then self-care. And then they've sort of written out the steps for that to happen. Um, we've got some more here. I love this. We want more joy and less blah. And then the goals directly feed that. How I'm going to seek joy, how I'm going to reduce the blah makers, and then some foundations of looking at my routine, nutrition, like the things that are going to feed our soul, that self-care focused uh, idea. The one over there, way on the right, is using relax, and they want to revive, relax, and reconnect for the week. And then we can also just repurpose this space. If the goals really aren't speaking to you and you're focusing more on your habits and your to-dos, then perhaps there's something different in this space. And here's some great examples of that. You could throw a quote in there. You could do, stickers or a little doodle. I love the weekly three major goals of the little person all hunkered down and cozy. That's a great way to set up goals. Perhaps you do a weekly playlist and maybe you make it a thematic one, like for the holiday season. Or you do some kind of a accountability tracker, like that morning rhythm and routine there you see at the bottom of the center. And then our to-dos are just that. They're to-dos, how you set this up. Here are some techniques that we always say to consider if your to-dos feel very overwhelming. That Pomodoro technique is a great way to tackle something like decluttering or a big project that you need you need kind of this focused work time. So you would do 25-minute timer, and then take a little break and then repeat that. And you do that on repeat until you get that tackled. Perhaps you have lots of to-dos, lots of things calling you, and you plug those things into this Eisenhower matrix that you see on the upper left, which will help you prioritize the important and urgent things, as well as be aware of the things that need to be deleted that are keeping you from getting the things done. All those distractions. Write it down. Give that power to the paper. And then some of us have been using the mustard, ketchup, mayo, and pickle idea for our goals or our to-dos. And that's the things that must be done, the things I want to catch up on, the things I may do. They're not really tied to a deadline, and I'm going to put it down for consideration. And then for pickle, I always just put a couple of fun things and I pick one, right? So that's a fun way to set up the to-do space. Here's some great examples of you seeing like the goals are set, they're tied in the to-dos. The to-do list here on the bottom divided up into two spaces for this person's life. That's what works for them. Some more great examples, kind of like that to-do there on the right with that it's almost like a spider web or whatever, but you can color that in, use it as somewhat of a bingo list as you get things done. And then there's some ways to repurpose. Maybe you need to focus on how you want to be this week, or you leave this space blank and you do a ta-da. And as you do things that maybe weren't on the list, you celebrate those things. And also the idea of things that you don't want, the not to do's. So that positive messaging to keep you focused on what you're not doing. So let's work on our goals and our to do's, share in the chat, and then we'll go down to our habits and activities. right. So we've got hopefully our goals or our focus set with those to-dos. That list may be ongoing throughout the week. I actually put my to-dos in my daily weekly spread, because my list is never ending. I have to write it down so I don't forget to do things. I'm of that age. So now let's drop down to the habit and activity tracker that's at the bottom of this page. We love this tracker because it can be designed just for the week. So the things that you put in your habit wheel may show up here. That's great. But this is also an activity tracker. And so, you might have some things that are happening 2 or 3 times this week. So you can write that down, circle that day. That way it's committed to paper and you won't forget it. I love this example here because this person is really tying their Silk and Sonder journey into their weekly habit tracker. They're checking in on that daily ritual. They're going to check their mood tracker. They're going to take a look at their habit tracker. They're going to do their sleep tracker. So they've got that accountability built in to their habit and activity tracker this week. And then also just again that reminder that the trees that look empty and like they're not doing anything on the outside. Lots of stuff is happening inside and underneath. And I thought this was such a beautiful graphic to remind us of how important that our habits are as we're working on the inside of us. So here are some examples of how folks set this up. My one of mine is actually up there on the upper left, and you see I don't do a goal ever. I just do straight tracking. Just like the one next to it on the right, they've just washi taped over that little goal space. And then we've got, the one on the bottom, you can see that they want to do like go to bed by 10, and they've circled the days that they want that to happen. And look, they've given themselves Friday and Saturday off. So they are letting the weekend kind of be the weekend. And then their wake up time, awake by 5:20. They want that during the week, but not on the weekend. Then we've got the habit and activity tracker over there using some little Silk and Sonder stickers. We've got a couple of slides with those this morning. Look at this one here on the bottom left. This is actually from our big book of stickers. So they're kind of fun. Katie will actually share. There it is. There's the link directly to that big book of Silk and Sonder stickers that are 30% off today. Also, let's see, I'm just looking, you can see how some folks will set a goal and then some folks will just mark through like the one over there on the right. They're just going to color code and track. And then this one on the bottom, they are giving themselves some days off. So, like this one was from Labor Day. So that Monday they were not tracking and they wrote why? Because it's Labor Day. So if you have weeks like that, do that. They give themselves a Sunday fun day, and so they don't track. So, that permission that we might need that they don't all have to be filled in. It doesn't have to be done every day. And then here are some great habit tracker ideas if you're looking to put 1 or 2 new things in this space. We always say don't put too many new things at once because we want to set ourselves up for success. So let's do our habits and activities. Let us know what you're going to be putting on here. And if you give yourself permission to like take the weekend off, that kind of stuff, share in the chat. Okay, so we have an idea now of what our week is going to look like. So let's go to our next page. It has the meal plan, the shopping list, the mind body healthcare plan, and of course the I am loving box. Hopefully that one's already filled in from the front of our time together this morning. But this page is the page that gets repurposed a lot. Katie likes to call it the B side of like the record album. So I'm going to actually go through and show you examples of both all four of these three of these spaces, and just notice how folks kind of set this up in different ways. Now you can use the pages just as they are, but you can also repurpose so that they better meet your needs. We love the meal plan space because it's so big. But here's not an exhaustive list, but ways that folks have set this page up. And so maybe your bedtime routine goes in your mind body healthcare space. Perhaps your morning routine goes in the shopping list, or maybe your shopping list goes in the shopping list. Maybe your meal plan shows up in the mind body health space, and then you use the meal plan tracker space for, a journal reflection. So we'll show you lots of different ways. Yeah, and Heather, I have tried. I am always changing, trying something new. So here's some very great suggestions from Sonder family. There's like an appointment time that's kind of the long one in the middle, and then journal reflections are here on the left. Maybe your day, lots of folks like to use this space for that daily affirmation. So they're all gathered and you see them all at once. Maybe a reflection. One thing I love about myself, a midday check-in. That's an awfully good way of looking at how the day is going and see what you need at that moment. And then the mind body health plan, here's how folks have used the space. There's that self-care corner again that we shared at the front end of our time. Perhaps, your mind body health space is always about you. I call it my selfish space. This is always something I'm going to do for just me. But we've got my plan, my reality. We've got some doodles there. Um, Love the question, that upper one in the middle. What got me out of bed today? Then maybe using some fun alliteration like mindful Monday, tackle it Tuesday, whimsical Wednesday, etc. That's a fun way to set that up. Or maybe this goes in the meal plan space if you feel like you need more space to write. Here's some more examples using, again, a shout out to those fun little stickers, like you see in the upper left there. We've got rhythm and routines getting locked down with an AM and PM. Uh, Reminder, you're looking at that every day, that you go through that list and you do them, all of those things. There's a little graphic on self-care today, since our week has been self-care focused through our mind map. Perhaps you look for your daily glimmers, that one small little thing, like you're going to stop and really notice what's going on in the world. You can see over there on the upper right, someone's actually used this for their dinner plans. So their meal plan space has been utilized for something else, and their main meal of the day is going there. Um, Let's see. And then we've got the shopping list, and I love this space for bingos because it's just fun to use those grids, and I love marking off a bingo because it just feels very satisfying to me. And you can see you can make a big bingo with 9 things, or a mini bingo with 9 things, like the upper left. But then you look in the bottom middle there, there's a whole lot of little boxes squeezed in there. This is a great place for a tracker. You can see someone is tracking their weight by dividing it up into columns and doing that. Um, they've got we had said some stuff about the saying no to. This was actually the major 3 goals, but I thought this could also work beautifully as a reminder in our mind body health space. We've got a little daily check-in for prayer, meditation, movement. So you could do a daily tracker here with those, especially if you need a little more space from that habit and activity tracker. Hygge is that Scandinavian idea of being cozy, slowing down, wintering, having these times of stillness and slowness. So there's some Hygge ideas that might fit into one of these spaces. I've got a lot of graphics now that you could use in any of these spaces, some self-care ideas. There's that graphic we shared at the front end of our time together, the to-do list for winter. I'll go back through these while you work on this. And then I am going to actually be using the front end of my journal, that calendar. I don't normally utilize it, and I am making a little self-care like Advent, Christmas, holiday bingo, or not bingo, a calendar, and just writing small moments into that space this month. And I was inspired by that self-care Advent calendar, but it's just small things like light a candle, make a cup of tea, make a cup of cocoa. One of mine is wear something Christmas. I have my Christmas earrings on today. Some acts of kindness. We've got a little bucket list. We'll have lots of these kind of graphics to share through the month, but this is going to be something that you can plug into any of these spaces that are in this side B's page two part of your setup. So let me put on some music while we finish this up. I'll go back through these slides. Feel free to grab a screenshot if you see something that speaks to you. your whole week, way faster than treadmill hours for sure. We're so glad that you joined us. And as a reminder, yes, you're always invited to use these spaces just as they are. It's about taking what you need. It's that's what's beautiful about the journey. So, this has been recorded, so you'll be able to access it, and you'll see these graphics again throughout the month because we're going to just really lean into all the ways we can renew our souls and our spirits as we journey together. I'm so grateful that you made time for yourself this morning and set yourself up for a great week. Remember, today is a huge day. Get 30% off site wide at Silk and Sonder. This might be a good list, to send to someone you love so you can find some things, maybe some gifts for the holidays. Here's what I would like, family, and take advantage of that 30% off. We would love to see your setup in Sonder Club. That's where we facilitators get these examples to share with our entire community during our times together. And then if you ever want some more information on that life coach, if this is a step you want to take for the new year, and so that in a year from now you look back and go, that was the best self-care thing I did. Feel free to email hello@silkandsonder.com or just go to the website, www.silkandsonder.com, and you can get more information on that coaching. Thank you all for joining us. It's going to be a great week, and we will see you soon, Sonder family.
And you ask me what I want this year, and I try to make this kind and clear. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. 'Cause I don't need boxes wrapped in strings and designer love and empty things. Just a chance